For years, our collective imagination framed the dark web through the lens of the Silk Road. We imagined underground digital bazaars where anonymous users traded illicit substances, forged documents, and physical contraband under the cloak of encryption. But as the digital economy shifted, so too did the criminal underworld. The true currency of modern cybercrime ceased to be physical goods, it became digital identity. And no platform materialized this terrifying evolution more spectacularly than Genesis Market. It was not just another illicit website, it was a highly sophisticated, industrial-scale clearinghouse for human digital twins. For nearly half a decade, Genesis Market operated as the hidden engine behind thousands of corporate breaches, financial thefts, and ransomware attacks, fundamentally changing how cybersecurity experts viewed the concept of a login. To understand why Genesis Market was so revolutionary, and so deeply dangerous, you have to understand the fundamental flaw of traditional credential theft. For decades, hackers relied on lists of leaked usernames and passwords. They would buy these lists from breaches and try them across thousands of websites, a technique known as credential stuffing. But the tech industry adapted. Companies introduced advanced anti-fraud systems, multi-factor authentication, and device fingerprinting. Suddenly, even if a criminal had your correct password, logging in from a strange computer in a different country would trigger an immediate security alert. The system would notice the unfamiliar browser, the foreign IP address, and the lack of historical cookies, prompting a secondary verification check or locking the account entirely. The traditional password, on its own, was becoming obsolete to hackers. The architects of Genesis Market looked at this defensive matrix and engineered a brilliant, chilling solution. They realized that to bypass modern security, they didn't just need your password, they needed to pretend to be your actual computer. They needed to clone your digital soul. To accomplish this, the operators relied on a vast, distributed network of malicious software known as info stealers. These lightweight viruses, carrying names like Redline, Raccoon, and Vidar, were distributed globally through cracked software downloads, malicious email attachments, and poisoned search engine advertisements. Once an unsuspecting user infected their device, the infostealer went to work, quietly vacuuming up every piece of data stored within the user's web browsers. But it didn't just look for saved passwords. The infostealer harvested active session cookies, autofill data, saved credit cards, and incredibly detailed metadata about the computer itself. It recorded the screen resolution, the installed fonts, the specific version of the operating system, the hardware configuration, and the unique browser settings. This massive data is what cybersecurity professionals call a browser fingerprint. The infostealer packaged this entire digital profile and transmitted it back to the command and control servers of Genesis Market. On the marketplace, this package was listed as a bot. When a cybercriminal logged into Genesis Market, they weren't browsing text files of passwords. They were browsing an e-commerce platform that looked as slick and professional as Amazon or eBay, featuring advanced search filters, shopping carts, and customer support. A buyer could search for bots that had active access to specific high-value targets, such as banking portals, corporate VPNs, cryptocurrency exchanges, or social media managers. Each bot was priced based on the perceived value of the accounts it contained, ranging from a few dollars to thousands of dollars. The true genius, and malice, of Genesis Market lay in how they delivered these stolen profiles to their buyers. The operators developed a custom, proprietary browser extension called Genesis Security, alongside a modified version of the Chromium browser. When a criminal purchased a bot, the data was automatically fed into this custom browser environment. The extension would instantly configure the criminal's browser to mimic the victim's machine down to the smallest detail. It spoofed the screen resolution, injected the exact hardware specs, and loaded the victim's active session cookies. The implications of this were catastrophic. When the criminal navigated to a website like a bank or a corporate network, the website's security algorithms looked at the incoming connection and saw the exact browser fingerprint and the legitimate session cookies of the real user. To the network, it looked as though the user was simply opening a new tab on their usual computer. The system did not prompt for a password, and more importantly, it bypassed multi-factor authentication entirely because the session cookie proved the user had already successfully authenticated. The criminal walked straight past the security guard without ever having to present a key. Furthermore, Genesis Market offered a subscription model for human identities. If a victim updated their password or logged into a new service, the infostealer still residing on their computer would silently harvest the new data and automatically update the purchased bot on the Genesis platform. The buyer maintained a live, real-time mirror of the victim's digital life. It was an ecosystem of complete compromise, fueling an underground economy where low-level criminals could purchase high-tier hacking capabilities with the click of a button. For years, Genesis Market operated with an aura of invincibility. Its infrastructure was resilient, its invite-only access kept casual investigators at bay, and its operators hid behind layers of dark web anonymity. It became a critical bottleneck step in the cybercrime supply chain. Ransomware syndicates would buy access to corporate networks via Genesis bots, using them to plant devastating payloads inside multinational firms. Independent fraudsters used them to drain bank accounts and execute identity theft on an unprecedented scale. But as the market grew, it drew the undivided attention of global law enforcement. The sheer scale of the disruption meant that Genesis Market was no longer just a cybersecurity nuisance, it was a threat to international economic stability. Quietly, beneath the surface, a massive, coordinated counter-offensive was taking shape.